Hi there, this is Linda from Go for the Joy. Good morning, everyone. I'm on the phone with Kathy from blisshabits.com's Kathy Sprinkle, right?
That's
Sprinkle?
right.
Yeah, Kathy Sprinkle. That's a really
Hey, name.
that's a blissful name, Sprinkle. And Kathy invited me to write for her blog on Bliss Habits, which has weekly themes and wonderful bloggers contributing it and artists contributing pieces as well. So, Kathy, how did you come to do this? What was your inspiration to start this?
Let's see. Okay, so there, to actually even think about blogging, I first started blogging just to save some stories about my daughter issues.
Right?
And I started blogging to save those, and then I realized I wanted that was really very private, and I wanted to do something. I wanted to challenge myself to do something like something for myself.
Right.
So I came up with this idea of had read Ben Franklin's autobiography, and
Right.
Ben Franklin did this interesting thing where he had 13 virtues that he studied for his entire life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he would read. He wanted to live what he called an unblemished life, and what that looked like is he kept in a little book. He had a list of all his different virtues.
Right.
Some of them were like humility is one of them, and gosh, like right now I'm blanking on exactly what his were. But
Right.
If he didn't do a good job that day for that virtue, he'd give himself a little black dot. And so if he did it right, his page would be clean. He wouldn't have any black dots.
Okay.
Unblemished. And he would cycle through, and then once he would study each of his habits, each of his virtues rather. He called them virtues. He would study them for 1 week,
Right.
and then he would move on to the next one. And he just did this ongoingly for his entire life. And
Wow.
if you do 4 cycles of 13, you get yourself through the year.
Okay.
And that, so when I first read that, I always thought, oh gosh, maybe I want to do that. And I actually played a game at one point in which sorry, my husband's peeking in. I got distracted.
That's okay. Hi, hubby.
So I got so first I tried to do his habits, and then I was like, this is silly. I'm not interested enough in his habits, right?
Yeah.
So I said, well, I'll come up with my own. And so
Right.
I thought about it, and my first Bliss habits were thought of. And I spent, I just put up a very simple blog at the time. I just put it out there. I told some of my friends, hey, I'm going to do this, and I'd like you to keep me accountable. And how I did it is I would start each week with announcing whatever the topic was, and then I do some research, and I came up with what I've been calling Bliss initiatives.
Right.
It'd be something I would try on the topic.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would also, back then I was actually reading a book about each of the topics all the time, and I would review the book that I picked up for that week, and all these different things. And it was going along swimmingly until one day some complete stranger found my blog and left a comment.
Right.
And I was like, whoa, there are people out there. I was just doing it as like my own personal experiment, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, somebody else. It was really a revelation for me.
Right.
Then, and that person happened to be a crafter.
Yes.
A paper crafter who had this whole circle of blogs that they participated in that were all about people doing art and crafting, and I was like, wow, this is very, it was very interesting to me, and I participated in this craft blogs. They had this thing once a year where they invite people to give away a gift, and you have like an open house on your blog, and you invite people to come in, and you pick somebody to win a prize.
Wow, it's a whole world out there.
I played this with them, and all of a sudden I had like 300 people newly following my blog, and my blog was totally different from anything that they were doing because everybody else was a crafter, and I had
Right.
this kind of quirky bliss project.
Yes.
But it injected so much, like creativity and fun. And my topic that week happened to be whimsy, so it fit in beautifully
Right.
with my topic. And from that point on, I was like, oh, I see the blogosphere is out there, and I want to be a part of it.
Oh,
That's
lovely. So how many years have you been doing this now?
Well, I first started, I did the blog as, I called it Everyday Bliss.
Mm-hmm.
Then that name was not available. Somebody else has already bought it.
Right.
The everydaybliss.com. So I looked for a new name about 3 years ago now. And that's when the blog became Bliss Habits, and I recreated it in more of its it's now current blue form. It used to be green actually, but now it's blue. And with my motif of the dandelion seeds.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I love that motif.
So that's been going on 3 years now.
Right. Good for you.
And so my Everyday Bliss is a year, so I have like a total of about 4 years now I've been blogging.
Yeah. And so you got very enthusiastic when you were playing with more people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now you've been doing this for a while, and you have quite a little, it just kind of rolling along nicely, not a lot of bumps in it, I imagine. And
now it's interesting. It's like there's something really lovely and perhaps getting to be a little dull for me.
Right.
About the consistency of it all.
Yeah.
Because there's part of me that really totally loves knowing. I just had a cat climb up on me.
Yeah.
Hey, kitty. I love knowing, that next week we're going to be talking about listening. And so it's interesting because I know that next week we're going to be talking about listening, I'm already poised and getting tidbits that I know I'm going to discuss, or I know I'm going to share with somebody.
Right, right.
So it's a fun way to like keep my life with curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
Really,
so that's important for people to understand, is that even though people have this, say a blog site, blisshabits.com, and everything looks hunky-dory, that there's still, when you're a creative type and when your mind's going, you can see so many possibilities. It sometimes can be a bit of a box for you. And so the challenge is to how to shake that up enough to keep you interested in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been you've
I've
thrown in some.
With the idea of starting other blogs, and with everything I'm doing with my daughter, my 6-year-old, and she is going to a parent participation preschool. I mean,
Right.
It was a preschool, now she's going to elementary school.
Yeah.
Parent participation. So I'm in the classroom. It's a small school, so we're fundraising. So there's a lot going on with that. I just don't think I have the time, much as I would love to have like 4 other blogs on different topics.
Right.
I don't at this point feel like I have the time for that.
Right. Right. But your blog could have other pages, correct?
It could have other pages.
Yeah.
The one thing that always calls to me is I have this thing I refer to as my crunchy outrage. Is when the wrongs I want to right out there in the world. And
Okay.
in Bliss Habits, we concentrate more on the right in the world,
Right.
less on the wrong.
Right.
And so there's a piece of it that says I should be branching out and like helping to right some wrongs.
Okay. As you said that, I was hearing that a reminder for you, dear one, is that by focusing on the rights in the world, you are righting the wrongs in the world.
Mm.
What you focus upon grows, and many of you on this planet have forgotten this. So what you do is more invaluable than you would know. And we would caution you to watch where you place your attention. The other stuff will take care of itself along the way. And when you're faced with it, you can certainly do your piece to help in whatever way you can. But don't go looking for trouble.
Fair enough.
Okay. Thank you. That was the group. So that's an important piece, right? It's like,
Absolutely.
because when you have such goodness in your life and such love for people and the world, and if you start seeing the stuff out there that needs to be quote unquote fixed, right? But that's just contrast for other people to do things differently. And so what you do is huge, because you're bringing people back into what's good about things, what's good about life. All of your bloggers do the same thing. None of them are those kind of gritty kind of, I'm going to right the world and make everything right. They've all, they kind of find their way to this, oh, it's going to be all right. What I've read anyway. And so that's a huge gift you offer the world with Bliss Habits. So don't forget that, and don't go looking for trouble.
Okay. I feel compelled to share this. You hear from time to time about people talk about, just like the trolls coming to your blog and saying, mean things or whatever.
Right.
And I've been doing, in my 4 years, I have never had an unkind comment ever. Ever.
Yeah.
There's no room for it. It's like it's not. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. So everyone pay attention to what Kathy just said. There's no room for it. And there's no room for it because her site is about bliss, about joy, about peace, love, kindness. So there is no room for meanness. And so those people don't find their way to your site because there's no energy match. Right?
No.
They just don't match up with it. And they might read a little bit and then just can't bear to be there. Shut it down onto other things where the energy's more of a match, where they can be outraged or pissed off about life. Yeah. Good for you. Good for recognizing that. Are you there?
Yeah, I said thanks.
Oh, okay. It was silence. I thought, did we drop the call here? You also have a few things for sale on your site now.
Well, I actually only have one thing currently for sale.
Oh, I thought you had two.
The Bliss beads, which
Right.
are they're intended for people to wish on, and then the bead itself can be planted and daisies grow.
Okay. Nice. I like that.
And yeah, I'm actually in the mental conversation of like what else might Bliss Habits like to offer out in the world that.
I ran across a company called Printfection.
Excuse me, could you say that again?
Pardon?
I didn't hear what you just said.
I ran across a company on the web called Printfection. So instead of perfection, print, as in printing.
Got it?
Printfection.com, where they have kind of order-on-demand T-shirts, mugs, stuff. It's check it out. It's a lovely site and an interesting way to do business. So you're not having to invest huge sums of money in anything.
Right.
And
I'll check it out.
And they take care of the shipping and stuff. Yeah, I just needed to mention that to you as you were talking about that. You never know. Because people might like Bliss Habits T-shirts.
They might.
They might. Or coffee mugs.
And what another idea I've part of as the blog has grown, I feel like I've lost a little bit of my experimentation for myself. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things I kind of toying around with the idea of like if there's some sort of bliss kit that people could subscribe to, where they get prompted to try different things that would help bring more bliss into their life.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. So for anyone out there that's blogging and struggling with their business, you can kind of hear as Kathy's talking her way through the different things. It's that if you're in those beginning stages, or even the stage where Kathy is, it's just keeping yourself open to all the different possibilities that are out there and asking, how does it get better? What else is possible? And that's what you're doing, Kathy. It's like, okay, this is great, but I'm ready for more. Because most creative people aren't happy doing one thing all the time. I mean, think of artists and musicians. They really get limited when people refuse to see them in any other way than what they've been successful at. It makes them really hard to step into being something else. You know, write different music or paint different art. So creative people need to create and expand what they're doing. So keep that in mind, everyone, when you're in your business and trying to decide what's next. Do you have any advice for people, Kathy?
Do I have any advice? Well, I guess my overarching philosophy of life comes from a book I read when I was about 25.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Napoleon Hill's Greatest Secret.
Okay.
Not Napoleon Hill, sorry, Earl Nightingale. I went somewhere else. Earl Nightingale's The Strangest Secret.
The Strangest Secret.
The Strangest Secret. It's a small book that was actually taken from a radio broadcast that he did at one point. But the core, read the whole thing. The bottom line is that you become what you think about.
Mm-hmm.
And that has always been hugely instructional. When things are not going well, I just had to take a look at what I was thinking about. And when things are going well, for a long time, I looked at it, I used that as a, like sort of a way to say, oh gosh, I shouldn't be thinking about that, but I didn't use it in the creative sense of like, well, why don't I think more about this? It was more like, oh, if I'm thinking about this, that's why that's going that way.
Right.
So I would encourage people to think of that in a very creative sense as well.
Okay. Good advice. Yeah, because our thoughts are laying down this energetic pathway, and most people aren't connecting the dots with that, you know, or we forget,
right.
which you know we do as we get stuck in our life. Okay then. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. Is there any final one thing you want to say to people about Bliss Habits?
One thing I'd like to say about Bliss Habits. Well, I guess if you're looking for a little more bliss and fun, it might be a place you want to stop by.
Okay, great. Everyone can use a little bliss in their lives, and the Bliss Habits does weekly themes with wonderful bloggers contributing, writers contributing to that. And Kathy is the mother of that ship.
Yes, I am. Thank you so much. It's been really interesting and fun.
Yes, thank you. So, okay, everyone, bye-bye. Thanks for listening, and enjoy your day. And remember to head on over to blisshabits.com or find Bliss Habits on Facebook. Take care. Bye-bye.